So welcome, Georgios Stassis, Chairman and Chief Executive of PPC. As you well know, one of the biggest players in the energy sector in Greece. We're going to talk about the electricity market. And perhaps it would help to start by stepping back a little bit to the plans that you had before we had this current crisis, plans for the energy transformation of Greece, and then we'll measure it against what is now happening and how those plans have to adapt, if they have to adapt. So, clearly you were having a big focus on the sustainability questions of transformation. Describe in broad terms how you saw that happening, and perhaps how you're having to shift now.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here today. Actually, in PPC, we have started a very big transformation of the company in the last 3 years, from 2019. And when we are talking about transformation in energy, we need to think of the energy transition, which is happening. It's actually happening and will be continuing the following decades. So what we did is we tried to reposition PPC towards this energy transition. So we are looking very clearly and we are trying to imagine how the world and the market will be in the following years. I'm talking about distributed generation, much more renewables, batteries, electric mobility, all this ecosystem which will need also to intercommute among it. So all the kind of decisions we took and for this transformation had this in mind. So we have a 3-pillar strategy. We are decarbonizing PPC. We are making greener our generation fleet, removing lignite, adding much more renewables. We will be doing 5 gigawatt of more renewables in the next 5 years, in the next 4 years. We are digitalizing our network strongly, our distribution network, in order to make it much more flexible to cope with this new scenario. And we are modernizing our supply proposition in all sense. I mean, we have rebranded, we are providing new services, we are giving value-added services. We don't give only power, we give power and gas, we give maintenance services, heat pumps, a lot of additional things. We entered in e-mobility. We have the ambition to do more than 10,000 charging stations in the country. We started from scratch. We are more than 600 installed positions to date. And interesting enough, I mean, because we are passing the biggest energy crisis since the 70s, if I think on the plan that we had in mind before this energy crisis and the plan that we are doing right now is exactly the same. Our narrative is much more, let's say, valid today than ever before. In fact, the way our projects are being permitted is going a bit faster, which could be the only good thing that happened from this crisis.
And this is because the need to reduce dependency on traditional sources is that much greater, so the shift towards renewables, for example, and the efficiency of use becomes even more important. Is that?
This is another reason for, but it is not only this. I mean, we are decarbonizing, the industry is being decarbonized because it's better for the environment and it's cheaper. And on top of that, you have the energy security reason right now. So you need to do this also for energy security reasons. But the first 2 reasons, so being good for the environment and being cheaper, were always there in the last 5 years and will continue being there for the next years. So it's something that we need to do because of the climate, because of our economic interest, and because of energy security too.
Let's focus a little bit, first of all, on the renewable side of things. Greece is fortunate in having, obviously, sun and wind. What is the mix of renewables that you're developing?
Well, mostly we will be doing sun, so mostly PVs. 2/3 of our pipeline is PVs, 1/3 is wind. We also have a very big hydro fleet. Developing more hydro is very difficult, as you know, around the world. So we will be focusing on PV and wind, mostly PV because it's faster. We are very interested in doing more wind, but PV is much faster.
What are the barriers towards going even faster? What are the constraints for renewables?
Well, I mean, I had the chance to talk with a lot of co-members of mine in the Euroelectric board and a lot of other CEOs in the industry, and there is the issue of permitting, which is a big issue all over Europe. In Greece, I have to say, we had a lot of developments, good developments in that stand. So we saw our projects being developed and getting the permit faster than, I would say, any other place in Europe. I would say the barrier right now is the global supply chain. So there is a huge demand for PV panels, for inverters.
Which are what, mainly from China, or is that still the case?
Mainly from China, indeed. I think Europe has lost the train for that,
yeah,
unfortunately. Yeah. But the best quality panels right now are indeed coming from China.
Yeah. Okay, so renewables is going as fast as the constraints allow, from what you say. But what about the other side of the equation? Because, you know, you want to reduce the reliance on lignite, which is one of the dirtiest forms of energy. But you're having to slow that down, are you now, because of the energy crisis? Is that shifting?
I don't believe that the energy crisis, in terms of economic impact, is delaying so much lignite, rather than because of the security of supply. So because of security of supply, we will be going a little bit slower, but I'm talking about 1.5, 2 years maybe, not more than this. So we are not changing our medium to long-term target. We will be taking out lignite for sure in the next 4 or 5 years, not more than this. Now, if we were supposed to take out 3 units this year, if we will delay a couple, or 1 or 2, it doesn't make any real difference. And the fundamental reason for doing so is solely the energy security. So we want to be, and we are planning to be ready if any shortage of gas will happen in Europe.
We heard just now.
But the medium long-term target, which is decarbonizing our business, and not only the power sector, but also many other sectors together, heating, electric mobility, is still on the table, and we are absolutely committed to proceed in that regards.
Yeah, we heard just now from the Commissioner that he thought that this winter supply would be okay. Is that your assessment, and what are the potential risks ahead in the coming months?
From the energy fundamentals, we don't see any issue. The issue is primarily geopolitical, and it's very difficult to predict geopolitical differences.
But if there was a cutoff, I suppose, that is the risk that people can look at. That obviously prices have risen very dramatically, but if there was a much more brutal supply shock, how would you cope?
If there was a cutoff, Greece would be a little bit better off versus other countries because of alternative routes. So we have the Turkcell, which is coming through Turkey, or we have more LNG terminals. We have an LNG terminal in the country, but still this would not be sufficient. We also have the lignite and the hydros. So in a cutoff in Europe, I think there would be a chaotic situation in Europe. I don't think anybody can predict how the interconnected systems would react, how the markets would react, because every single member of the European Union would find itself in a huge shortage and will start buying.
What about the specific situation of Greece? I mean,
Greece is part of Europe. It's interconnected.
Yes, but it also has, as you say, it has its own supply.
Yes, so we would be a little bit better, but still also Greece would have to face a very big shortage as well. So I reckon that in such an event, the industrial users would have to be limited, for sure, in order to prevail and do whatever we can for the residential users.
Yeah, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. But in terms of your own investment plans, you say that your broad strategy has not been affected by the current situation, but are you tweaking your investment plans to some extent, and if so, how?
Yeah, We are revising our plan in the sense that we will be investing further in renewables. We will be investing faster in batteries, I believe. RRF funds is helping on that. And we will be investing faster in whatever is related to flexibility. So more investment in network in order to have a flexible network, more investments in storage. I think we will find PPC in the coming years experimenting more with hydrogen. The today's assets which are burning gas tomorrow might be burning hydrogen, so we need to prepare those assets for this future. These are the kind of changes we will be doing when we will announce by the year end our revised plan, which will already have the existing plan in a bigger version.
Yes. I don't know, you may have seen a couple of weeks ago in The Economist, we had a big special report on the energy transition, the new technologies that are coming to bear. And I must say from that, there was a mixture of conclusions. First of all, that it's very exciting what is happening. There's all sorts of innovation happening, but also that there is still a lot left to do and left to invent if we're to reach the scale of transition that is required for the impact on the planet. So you're at the heart of this. You're in the middle of this sort of transition. How do you see the balance between optimism of the excitement of the transition that is happening, the sort that you've been describing, and the kind of frontier of new game-changing technologies that need to still be invented?
Yeah, the power sector is a very exciting sector to be in from that standpoint. Definitely, it's the transition which is happening, and a lot because it's taking together many other industries as well. I've spoken about the heating and the electric mobility as two examples. So flexibility again is the key word, and all the technologies, the new technologies which will be appearing, will need to address this matter. I see a lot of investments in batteries, so to making more flexible and efficient batteries. There will be demand response, so artificial intelligence, IT systems, digital systems will play a very important role. First of all, for the industry. I mean, the industrial players will need to understand that they will need to work, and we will help. We will work side by side on creating, making an audit and creating a much more flexible operations, greener operations. I think they will become more green in terms of covering their needs. And IT and digitalization is a key player on that. So we have batteries, we have demand response, we have electric mobility, which again, it's like, if you have 600,000 cars parked and being charged, and you do a negative bidding, this also is a new possibility of exploring the market. So all those things are coming together, are not so far away, are faster than what we think. And for this we are getting ready as PPC.
And it's the sort of integration of all these things that is critical as well. But
this is the challenge.
Final question for you is on the role of Greece and the private sector in Greece in particular in the energy transition generally. Greece is a small country, but are there areas where Greece can be a leading player and Greece can have an outsized impact in your view?
I think the subject of the digitalization that I talked a while ago is a key subject. Greece can have a very important role on that. There are a lot of investments which came in Greece from big multinational companies. In Thessaloniki, for instance, there is the creation of a digital hub happening as we speak. There is very good talent in Greece who can develop these technologies and is developing these technologies.
Have to keep the talent in Greece and
not
let it go.
There was a decade that talent was going out of Greece, and now talent is coming back to Greece, I believe.
Okay.
It's happening. PPC is an example. I came out, I was living abroad, I came back in Greece to take this role. With me, a lot of other people came back in Greece, so it is happening as we speak.
Well, on that optimistic note, we have to close, but thank you very much indeed,
Thank you very
Georgios
much
Stassis.
as well.
Thank you.